How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, guys, we've got loads of Pokemon leaks that we're going to take a look at, so sit back, relax, and let's get started. First things first is going to be this post right here shared by Moot, saying that this is a concept/alpha picture of the female Gen 10 protagonist. Most likely this is real because they do have access to a bunch of the files, if you guys do not know. Essentially, the massive hack that took place at Game Freak, where a bunch of their files got, like, taken by the guy named, like, GFO, I think, Game Freak Out, I think that's his name. Basically, this person actually stole a bunch of data and information and just now has been putting it out publicly. And these guys have been actually skimming through and trying to find everything that's in there. And interestingly, they found what seems to be a female protagonist. Now, I've blurred this image even more than was already blurred, and I could technically blur it even further, to be honest with you. So we're gonna blur it even further like that. There we go. That's very nice. But yeah, basically, it just shows one of the protagonists, the female protagonist. Now, it is just a temporary one, so I wouldn't really take this as meaning much. It's just a character. Again, since this is just development builds, please don't take this as being what we're actually gonna get. The character we get is gonna look way different than this, but it does give some indications, to say the least, which is something you have to keep in mind. So yes, there is more stuff though that I will talk about in regards to this, because it gets like hefty. There's a lot. Okay, there's a lot of stuff, especially with this next one we're going to take a look at right here, which is this post. Now this one is from Central Leaks, and it's about specifically this one thing, right? This one device you can use, which is a scooter. So some clarification. There is a Rotom scooter, which is the main ride mechanic in Gen 10. Apparently, though, you can connect it to any Pokemon with an energy leash to start controlling the Pokemon, like the Synchro Machine, and the scooter gains the Pokemon's powers. So, for example, if Pokemon can fly, the scooter gets the ability to fly. If the Pokemon can go underwater, the scooter can now go underwater. The scooter physically changes forms depending on the current ability. Some Pokemon also give the ability to flash dark areas and surf the ocean. Your Pokemon control you can control your Pokemon directly while the player follows from behind on the scooter with the leash. The player never rides a Pokemon directly. So that's implying that the scooter you'd be on, this Rotom scooter, because just please stop making everything about Rotom. I'm sorry. I am so sick of seeing Rotom being the one Pokemon that's the default of everything. Like, I get it. It's just a cheap and easy way to do it, but it is really infuriating. Give Porygon some love. I get it that Rotom is like a ghost, like an electric ghost essentially that goes inside of stuff, but like, I don't know, make a new Pokemon, a brand new one. Just stop using Rotom. I'm so sick of Rotom phones, Rotom scooters now too. But the concept, though, is interesting because I'm going to show you a relatively poor drawing of essentially what they're implying here. I'm just going to quickly find the post, because there is a post that essentially describes what this would look like, which I think you guys will find funny, but it essentially gives you some good details. So this is the post, though, right? So this is from Moot saying, super duper accurate depiction of how the riding Pokemon work in Gen 10 Alpha. Now, keep in mind, this is an alpha build. All of this could be gone. Like this Rotom scooter and the ability to connect it to an actual Pokemon, this may all be gone by now, because this is a very early build that they had, a very, very early build of Gen 10, which I'm not going to take that as, like, you know, none of us should take that as being like the final end-all be-all. Ironically, this also really is a smart way of implementing lots of ride Pokemon without making custom riding animations for all of them. So yes, you basically just connect to the Pokemon and it's just in front of you. It's kind of like a dog sleigh, right? Like a dog sled, or whatever you call it, dog sleigh. One of those things, you know, like you'd often see in like any like northern country, right, where there's a lot of snow and people use like huskies to like pull their sleigh. Like think Santa Claus with his sleigh with his like freaking what do you call them, reindeer. So basically something like that is what this kind of implies, at least like on surface level, I would say. Like, that's kind of the implication, just from a surface level. That's what it seems like to be implying. But again, we don't really know until we actually get our hands on it. Apparently there is some other stuff too, which people have found, which again is like stuff here from these leaks. You apparently, the way riding works, Central left out details in his post. You have a scooter that transforms. You can attach a scooter to a Pokemon, any Pokemon. You can then take control of that Pokemon a la Synchro Machine and move around, dragging the player. Interesting. So that's something that Central didn't mention, that you are actually controlling the Pokemon itself, unless I misunderstood the way he wrote it. But that's actually intriguing, because if you control the Pokemon itself, that's really cool. Now this can occur on land, on the ocean, underwater, and the sky, and is adaptive to the environment. That is sick though, because if you're in charge, then the sleigh and the scooter part, I don't really care. It doesn't matter if it's there. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't even care that it's Rotom, as long as we get to control the Pokemon itself and we get to do essentially like some form of riding mechanic. I don't understand why they couldn't have just made like a rideable Pokemon mechanic like we had in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because we had it. You cannot deny that we had that feature, but somehow it's just not here again. But again, I digress. It is what it is. We'll just move on to the next thing, which is, in this case, going to be the next post here. A Game Freak developer of Pokemon have a ChatGPT tutorial for employees in one of their digital workspaces. As I mentioned in Moot's stream, Game Freak does have a ChatGPT tutorial for employees inside Confluence, which, yes, it looks like they are using ChatGPT for some of their work, which I don't know if that inspires necessarily confidence, but I'll let you guys be the ones who decide on that. It's not up to me. I ain't gonna say nothing. We'll see how it turns out in regards to that. But either way, moving on to the next thing though, I'm trying to look through everything. But apparently also Game Freak finally added Legends ZA to the website. They categorize it as a main series game. This was posted by Stealth, Stealth 40K, you guys may know, where yes, it is listed here as a mainline Pokemon game. So in case anybody wants to claim that it's a secondary side game, blah, 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 whatever else, you can't. It's just no. It's official by the developers themselves that is a mainline game. Trying to call it anything else is literally going against what the actual developers literally said. So just gonna emphasize that one real quick. But yeah, it's interesting nonetheless. Either way. Next up, though, we have a few more thingies to take a look at in regards to the leaks. I already know that a few other people have already talked about some of this stuff, but I still think it's worthwhile to mention. Like, for example, I'm going to have to blur this as well, though, because it is, again, some leak stuff. But it is interesting nonetheless, though. So let's take a look at the next thing, which is this right here. Now, this is about Pocopia. Now, if you do not know Pocopia, it's like the upcoming Pokemon game that's meant to be a sort of like Animal Crossing hybrid, but Pokemon sort of thing. Now, we didn't really know much about this, but they did mention some interesting stuff in the trailers that at least implied some stuff. But now it's pretty much been confirmed, apparently, according to, actually, I think it's, isn't this, Jan. I think Jan actually confirmed it. Yeah. So basically, the base game areas are going to be essentially, or this game essentially is a post-apocalyptic Kanto confirmed. Yes. Listen, this is actually kind of funny because we already had this massive rumor back in 2018 that the game of that year, and even 2017, that the game of 2018 that we were going to get, we all thought it was going to be a post-apocalyptic Kanto remake. That's at least what we all thought. Turns out we still got that, just not in an actual remake, but in a spin-off game, which is really funny. But here's what they say, though. Apparently, the base game, the Fuchsia area, dried up and unfertilized field land, is Area 1. Vermilion area is a constant raining electrical harbor. Pewter area is an abandoned mine covered by rocks. Saffron area, a bunch of buildings covered with plants. Area 5, which is the Viridian area, never-ending burning forest of ash. And then special area, palette area, no description. Then there's apparently going to be a DLC/post-launch areas, which, why do we already have planned DLC? And it's for areas that easily could have been in there. Either way, UPD-1, Cerulean area, flooded city that has hidden treasure. UPD-2, Cinnabar area, forever sealed, dead volcano island. UPD-3, Lavender area, rotten tower that reaches heaven. And then the UPD-4, Celadon area, giant, please tell me this is going to be like post-launch for free. Giant crater that reaches unseeable depths. And UPD-5, the Indigo area, no description. So yeah. And then they have like this leaked map that actually shows how this is planned out. So yes, again, all these leaks are just out there at this point, right? Like you ain't really like, they're not really hiding anything. They also do have this picture, which again, I can't really show you, but I will mention that this picture, what it actually features is essentially that same scooter, which if you want to find these, just go on Twitter and look up any of these people like Central Leaks, Moot, you can look up as well. You can even go to Light's Twitter if you want to see that. But like basically, this image just shows I think like the Poco Path or whatever it's called, like like, you guys know the main road when you start Scarlet and Violet, like when you leave your house and you go and actually get into the first route, like Poco Path, I think it's called. But apparently they're reusing that, which is something they always do in these games. They always reuse existing areas or existing game like data or files, maps, whatever else you want to call it. They use it as a basis for when they're building the next thing. That's what they always do. It's a standard thing. They will use the basis of like Sun and Moon for like Sword and Shield or Let's Go Pikachu Eevee or so on. So actually, I think Let's Go Pikachu Eevee was the basis for, or Sword and Shield was maybe the basis for Let's Go Pikachu Eevee, if it's not like the other way around. I don't remember exactly how it was, but there's a whole thing about that. But either way, though, basically they see just the character on the scooter on this, like a path that looks just like that with just like different looking graphics than what you have in Scarlet and Violet. So yeah, but again, same here, same information. Main ride mechanic for Gen 10 and Pokemon Winter Waves is the Rotom scooter, which is a core ride feature in Gen 10. You link it to any Pokemon with an energy leash, and when you do, you fully control that Pokemon. The scooter just follows. The scooter copies the Pokemon's traversal abilities, aka flying. The scooter gains fly, diving, underwater mode. Some Pokemon even grant flash-like lightning or surf movement. Its shape shifts depending on the active ability. And important, you never ride any Pokemon directly this time. The mechanic replaces mounts entirely, which, okay, so yeah, just we don't even have any rideable Pokemon. We just control the Pokemon, which, if anything, I think is a bit cooler. The fact that we can, you know, I would have preferred if we could still be on the Pokemon physically and also control the Pokemon, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. I just hope that the ability to fly in this game doesn't mean gliding, but actually flying, right? Like, I actually want to be able to, like, fly and all that and get around places, you know, much easier. I feel like the thing that with Pokemon games kind of struggle with is, like, they either they kind of give you an inch, but then they want a mile back from you, right? Like, they give you an inch, but they one step forward, 3 steps back is kind of very standard. So, like, one thing I don't like is, like, that, you know, to curb you from being able to reach places they don't want you to reach, aka giving you a fake open world where it's open world, dude, except not really, because we're going to arbitrarily make it hard to reach certain places just because, oh, we don't want you to be able to do that. Like Koraidon or Rhydon, essentially, like it's just shoehorned in that they have to eat the sandwiches to gain those abilities, just to limit you from being able to climb certain mountains or cross certain waters or whatever else, because certain Pokemon will be there. I just hope that we'll be free to actually, and I think this was in the leaks, that we will have the freedom now to, if we want to, from the start of the game, we can instantly go to the final boss of the game and just take him on, right? That's what I like. I like that. I like that we have the genuine freedom to get around without, like, being shoehorned in directions, you know, because that's actual freedom. Like, if they want to do a game where they have a specific direction they want you to go in, then I think it's better to just don't give us a free open world. Instead, make an actually good, well-crafted world and journey that is a roller coaster, but at least it's a fun roller coaster, instead of just like, you know, oh, hey, here is a fake open world, the feeling of freedom, but it's not real. We still have you on rails. We're just going to make the journey on rails just really boring. So I really hope that they go full all in on the openness. Give us the ability to dive, fly, all this stuff, but let us do it at our own volition. Don't force us down like a 2-3 hour long tutorial and then force us to go and, you know, do these specific things to unlock the ability to be able to actually explore. Like, let us just explore. Let us find things on our own. Let us make mistakes. I think the most important thing in games is let the player make mistakes. Let the player screw up and learn on their own. If you constantly have to handhold them, that's not really a fun experience. It's very boring. I think ZA is the worst and most egregious game we've had since, I would argue, I don't know, Sun and Moon, with the hand-holdiness in the tutorial. Like, oh my lord, man, it takes you like 2 hours to get out of the tutorial at times, especially early on if you like still want to read a lot of the text and stuff. But on replays, it is awful. It's just so boring. It's just so unnecessarily boring. Like, just give us freedom. Like, if people want, like, literally all you have to do is at the start of a Pokemon game, you can just ask people, are you a brand new, you know, player, or are you a returning player, right? Are you somebody who's returning to this experience, you know, and has played previous games? If the answer is either one of those, then give a slightly different intro. For the people that are brand new, give them an intro, because this is not even a crazy thing, by the way. Having a tutorial that's skippable is something that so many games have. This is not even a, like, this is crazy to me to think that this is not like a thing that they can't pull off. It's such a small thing. They don't have to spend a long time on it. Like, Just make the tutorial a short introduction to the basic stuff. Like, I get it that a lot of children play these games, but that's the perfect way to introduce them to it. Like, make a tutorial that's literally baby's first Pokemon game, and then let everybody else skip the stuff they don't want to do, you know, because it's a waste. It's a literal waste of time. And time is the one thing that we all have very little of, okay? We have a limited quantity of it. Unlike money, which can be infinite, time is finite, and I don't want to be wasting 2 hours of my actual life, my actual existence, on a tutorial, okay? I'd rather spend it having fun in the game, exploring, catching Pokemon, and having just a good time. That would be ideal in my mind. But either way, I digress. Those are essentially the leaks. That is the stuff for today. And I want to thank you all for watching, as per usual, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.